Chapter 420, Reaching the Top. As the bolt of reddish-purple lightning faded, Shui Han's severely ravaged remains were revealed. However, what had been revealed was not a body. Instead, it was a dark red wooden puppet with mysterious patterns engraved upon all of its parts. Standing not far away from the wooden puppet was none other than Shui Han, and his face was looking a little pale, but aside from that, he was completely unharmed. Patriarch Coldflame and Xianxia's expressions instantly changed drastically upon hearing this. "That's a substitution puppet!" Shui Han summoned a pill that he promptly swallowed, and his pale complexion quickly recovered. "I didn't anticipate there to be a restriction like this, but no matter. There are plenty of ways to kill someone without directly attacking them," he chuckled coldly, then began to slowly ascend the staircase once again. Patriarch Coldflame shuddered as he hurriedly tried to get away, but he had only just raised a foot when an unnatural flush appeared over his face, and he threw up a mouthful of blood before falling feebly to the ground once again. A look of despair appeared in his eyes, and in an act of desperation he turned to Han Li as he implored through voice transmission, "Save me, fellow Taoist Han!" Han Li's brows furrowed slightly upon seeing this, and he remained unmoved. It was already quite a struggle for him to carry Lu Yuqing, and if he were to accept another burden, then there was no way that he would be able to reach the top of the staircase. The final glimmer of hope in Patriarch Coldflame's faded at the sight of Han Li's expression, but in the next instant, a thought seemed to have suddenly occurred to him. "Fellow Taoist Han, do you want the second half of the Great Universe Origin Arts?" he asked in an urgent manner, through voice transmission. Han Li's expression changed slightly upon hearing this, and suppressed his own excitement as he asked, "Do you have it?" "No, but if you save me, I can take you to it," Patriarch Coldflame replied. Han Li raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. "Are you saying that the second half of the cultivation is in this Light Frost Palace?" "That's right. The stone slab that contains the first half of the Great Universe Origin Arts was actually something that I obtained after unintentionally triggering a restriction in the Light Frost Palace. And the main reason I came here this time is to secure the second half. That place is extremely secretive, so there's no way you'll be able to find it without me," Patriarch Coldflame replied. Han Li didn't offer an immediate response, and a contemplative look appeared on his face as he pondered the validity of Patriarch Coldflame's claims. Judging from the conversation between Patriarch Coldflame and Xiongfan and Xiangshan from earlier, both of them seemed to have reaped significant rewards the last time they visited the Light Frost Palace, and Patriarch Coldflame HD once told him that he had obtained the Great Universe Origin Arts from a secret area, so it wasn't all that far-fetched to imagine that this was the secret area he had been referring to. Furthermore, the stone slab that contained the first half of the cultivation had resonated with the starry light barrier earlier, indicating that there was definitely some connection between this place and the cultivation art. With that in mind, Patriarch Coldflame's claims were very likely to be true. At this point, Shui Han had already scaled around a dozen steps, and he wasn't far away from Patriarch Coldflame. A panicked look appeared on Patriarch Coldflame's face upon seeing this, and he hurriedly continued, "Are you suspecting that I'm lying to save myself? I'm willing to swear a vow on my life!" "If I'm lying to you, then let me be racked with inner demons and suffer the most painful death imaginable." Han Li finally made up his mind upon hearing this. "All right, I'll believe you this time." "Wait here for me," Han Li said as he set Lu Yuqing down onto the stone step, then began to make his way toward Patriarch Coldflame. Lu Yuqing immediately nodded in response and did as she was told. Standing still on the stone step, descending the staircase was far easier than scaling it, and Han Li was able to reach Patriarch Coldflame in the blink of an eye before picking him and immediately returning the same way that he had come from. Shui Han was furious to see this, but Han Li and Patriarch Coldflame were still out of reach, and he didn't dare to unleash any further attacks, so he could only watch as the two of them sped away from him. Meanwhile, a hint of derision flashed through Xiangshan's eyes as he witnessed Han Li's actions. Perhaps he could carry one person to the top, But in his eyes, carrying two people was no different from committing suicide for a mere true immortal. It didn't take long before Han Li reached the same step as before, and from there he picked up Liu Qing as well. With the burden of two people on his shoulders, his body instantly swayed slightly in an unsteady manner, much to the alarm of Patriarch Coldflame and Liu Qing. Han Li took a deep breath, then began to chant an incantation as a layer of dazzling purplish golden light appeared over his body. Immediately thereafter, several true spirit projections emerged before vanishing into his body, and he instantly swelled to several times his original size, while a layer of purplish golden scales emerged over his skin. At the same time, 2 additional sets of heads and arms appeared over his body. With these 6 arms, he picked up Patriarch Coldflame and Liu Qing, then began to scale the staircase once again, and compared with before, he hadn't slowed down in the slightest. An incredulous look appeared on Shui Han's face seeing this, and his expression was mirrored by Xianxia, who took an astonished glance at Han Li before withdrawing his gaze and continuing his ascent. "Your physical prowess is extraordinary, fellow Taoist Han. I am truly in awe," Patriarch Coldflame praised as a hint of elation flashed through his eyes. "There's no need to flatter me, fellow Taoist Coldflame," Han Li replied in an indifferent voice. "Also, I have a question for you." A slightly awkward look appeared on Patriarch Coldflame's face, and he prompted, "Go ahead, fellow Taoist Han. Earlier, you referred to the person behind us as Shui Han. We were both there at the Battle of the Holy Puppet Sect. Could it be that this is the same Shui Han from back then?" Han Li asked through voice transmission. Patriarch Coldflame's expression changed slightly upon hearing this, and he was silent for a moment before nodding in confirmation. A hint of befuddlement flashed through Han Li's eyes upon hearing this. "In that case, are all of those other Ghost Whale sect cultivators also adopting fake identities?" "Fellow Taoist Han, for your own sake, it's best for you to know as little about this matter as possible," Patriarch Coldflame replied in a meaningful voice. "You're right, I was curious," Han Li replied with a smile, then asked no further questions. Meanwhile, Han Li had already scaled quite a few more steps, and he was only 30 to 40 steps from reaching the top. Shui Han had been left far behind, while Xianxia continued to make steady progress and was about to reach the endpoint. Han Li was observing the steps up ahead with a solemn look on his face. These remaining steps were going to be the most difficult ones to conquer, and he didn't dare to take them lightly at all. Purplish golden light continued to surge over his body as he steadily progressed up the staircase, and after scaling around a dozen more steps, he finally slowed down, having to take a short break with each step that he scaled. The same was also happening to Xianxia. The gravity here was astonishingly overbearing, to the point that even the air was buzzing audibly. Han Li was looking slightly weary, and the purplish golden light emanating from his body was also flashing incessantly. Liu Qing and Patriarch Coldflame couldn't help but feel concerned upon seeing this. "Fellow Taoist Han, how about you put one of us down and take the other to the top, then come back and repeat the process?" Patriarch Coldflame suggested. "That would waste too much time. Rest assured, this is still not too much for me to bear," Han Li replied, and as he did so, he scaled another step. Xianxia's eyelids twitched slightly as he observed Han Li out of the corner of his eye, and he also took another step. Han Li's body was trembling slightly, and he took a deep breath as he braced himself before taking another step. The summit was already within reach, and the sooner he could reach the top, the sooner he would be able to commence his treasure hunt. With that in mind, both he and Xianxia were making one final all-out effort. The gravitational force on the final dozen or so steps was so formidable that it took the two of them a full 15 minutes to reach the top. And in the instant Han Li stepped onto the summit, the gravity instantly returned to normal, leaving him feeling as light as a feather. As a result, he inadvertently sprang up over 100 feet before landing on the ground again. Even though he had scaled the staircase as quickly as he could, he had been forced to withstand 3 times the normal gravity due to the 2 people that he was carrying. So Xianxia was able to reach the top before him. He heaved a long sigh of relief, then turned back to find that Xuehan was still 50 to 60 steps away, glowering up at him with a furious expression. Han Li withdrew his gaze before setting down Patriarch Coldflame and Lu Yuqing, then reverted back to his normal form as he cast his gaze forward. Directly up ahead was a purple gate that was several hundred feet tall, on either side of which was a pillar with a golden dragon wound around it, and each of the golden dragons had a golden dragon bead clasped in its mouth. There was no writing on the plaque above the gate, only an artwork of an ice that was quite rough around the edges, but also somehow extremely lifelike. On either side of the gate was a tall purple wall that stretched into the distance as far as the eyes could see. Han Li took a glance at the purple gate and the walls on either side of it to find that they were completely ordinary construction that weren't giving off any spiritual power fluctuations. And the dragon beads clasped in the mouths of the two golden dragons were also just ordinary ornaments. The only thing that caught Han Li's attention was the artwork of the vast ice field, which resembled the ice field that they had flown through on the way here.